Welcome to the next phase of the training, and at this point we shall be considering section A at A3 of the graphic work. Now, at this point we shall be considering some topics as listed on the screen: how to start up a new drawing, then handling basic operations in AutoCAD, settings, categorical units and limits, and some other things that I should be discussing in the course of the work. Then very important, because we're stepping into the real graphic work gradually now. Just as I told you initially that it makes no difference your extent of the knowledge you have prior to this time. You need no worry. All you need to follow us from the scratch. So at this point, we shall be explaining at point D of this section, we shall be explaining the key tools which are most vital as long as and as far as these modeling activities are concerned. So first and foremost, how do you start up a new environment? Assuming you have a need for new environment, how do you go about that? Very easy. Just watch what happens. You come to the logo and click on new. When you click on new, it lands you on this place. Now, what is in this place is choice of unit, which you can start from here. Now, I've emphasized on this thing in the initial training we had about the ISO card and ISO .dwt. I did justice to that training. So you go back to the past previous lesson, you understand more. Now, right away, we want to work on metric values. So we have to choose ISO card. The attachment at the right side should be .dwt, but it's not there. But then you just need to know that. You click on it, then I said open, and it lands you into blank space, as you can see on the screen now. Now, this is how to open a new environment. Maybe if for any reason you want to open up a blank sheet, you want to start with French work, that's how to go about it. Okay. Now you can see I have plenty working environment I've opened already, but that's how to go about it. I repeat once again, you click on this place, click on new when it gets new environment, then select the metric value you want to work in. I prefer ISO. Click on it and say open, and that lands you to the blank space as you can see here. That's how it goes. Now the next step is to do what? Click on Save As. Because it's a new environment, you haven't given it a name yet. So there's need for you to locate that work in a particular site or site in the hard disk. That's what I mean by opening a file. I'm going to talk more on that when we get to the next stage, but at least for now, you need to know that's how you can go about it. You don't just open a file and do a work and leave it. When you come next time, you won't see it, except you assign a name to that. So what you do when you click Save As, or I can click Save, you type the name you want here. Take for instance, you want it to be today. All right, you type it. I can see. You type today. First and foremost, delete all these things and type today. All right, depending on the choice. When you finish, you say save, and that gives you the do you want. Okay, that simply means that I have name like this before. If I want to replace it, I just say yes, and that replaces it. And if you watch at the top here, you see it here. You can see the cursor pointer. That is the location or the name you've given to this file in the hard disk. So this name you can use in trace it in subsequent time. Maybe anytime you come back again to do or to work on it to access it for one reason or the other, that's the name you use in getting there. So that is how to start up a new work. Now back to where we were before. Okay, we don't have need for starting, just for showing for teaching purpose. Now, and apart from opening a new drawing, there's some other operations you need to know. Please, to follow us very well, I think it's good to go to your textbook, page 15. That is subsection 1.2.8, basic operations in AutoCAD. I told us earlier, your book will make sense when we are in practicals. That's when you appreciate it the more. Now, there are some things you need to know that are very fundamental as far as this concern, uh, as far as modeling is concerned in ACAD and other CAD softwares. There's some basic operations you must have to know how to go about. Now, in the list include what? Activating tools, selection and deselection of elements. Then we have settings of both units and what? Limits. They're very, very important. Then talk about the plotting. I'm going to talk about plotting later when we have something, when we've gone far in the training anyway. But notwithstanding that simple basic operations, you need to know how to go about. Then how do we activate a tool in uh, in AutoCAD? For instance, there are two ways or three ways of activating tool. For instance, you want to activate line tool. This is line. You activate the tool by clicking directly on it, as I've done now. Once I click it, you watch the cursor pointer has changed. It's activated for work. I pin a place and pin a place. I've got my line. Now, this is how to do it. Alternatively, you can use shortcuts. I can just say L, enter. That gives me a line. For instance, I say L, enter. Okay, that gives me the same line, as you can see on the screen now. So, or I can type the name of the team fully in my toggle bar and say enter. That gives me the same thing. You can see it now. Though the shortest course is by clicking on it. So there are three ways you can go about getting or activating a tool. The first one by clicking on it, or by using shortcut, or by typing the name fully on the toggle bar. That gives you whatever you want. Now the next thing I want to talk about is how to uh, select an object. Very, very important. I'm actually on page 15 now. How to select object. This is very, very important. Maybe you're working, there's need for you to select. We have three ways you can select. Very, very important. Take, for instance, what is on the screen now. I can select using what we call simple window. That goes from left to the right. Or I can select using what we call cross window. That is a movement from right to the left. Or I can use what we call lasso selection. There are three kinds of selection. The first one is simple window. I go from left to right. Watch what happened now. Now, this is how it goes when you come to uh, simple window selection. When you go from left to right, it gives whatever you're able to cover will be selected. But the one that they touch, which is not covered, will not be selected. Now, take for instance this zero here. They were selected because they were properly covered. Now, this line here is selected, but this one is not selected, and this one is not selected. I'll tell you the reason. This one here was drawn using rectangle. And for you to select entire rectangle, it must have to enclose the entire perimeter of the object. Otherwise, it won't select it. Now, this rectangle as well was drawn. This second one was drawn using line, 4 lines joined together. So that is why when I enclosed this one, it was able to select it. So that is different. Otherwise, anything that you're able to touch you're able to enclose will be selected under this type of selection. Now, the second type of selection is cross window. That one, you go from right to left. Whatever that is touched in this style of selection, whether you're able to enclose it or not, will be selected. Watch what happened now. Any object, you can watch everything is selected now, minus this one, minus these two. Why? They were made of different lines, and the cursor pointer didn't touch them while I was moving from right to left. And that selects everything. Whatever you touch goes on. Now, if there's anything you select or anything that is selected, it simply means that it's a complete element. For instance, if I click on any of this arrow here, it will select anything that has to do here because it's actually from dimension 2. Otherwise, you won't select that. So in this type of selection, you select by what? Moving from right to left. And that is called cross window selection. Then we have lasso. And to deactivate what you have selected, very easy. All you need to do is to click on the escape key and you're back to normal. That's just how to do it. You select, you want to deactivate, you click on that, and that goes. Then another thing again, I want to tell you very fast is lasso. Lasso simply, you just click, hold, and hold the key. You click and hold the left key. your mouse not only have left and right. You click and hold the left key and move the button, and the object moves. Okay, like for instance, now you click on this and pin it, it moves it around because I've clicked and I'm holding the left key. You see, that's how uh, I can select an object. Okay, actually, it was rotating because I was moving my hand. Otherwise, you click and hold the key. Sorry, click and hold the key. That's another way. That is your lasso selection part. Now, see where more emphasis should be laid here when you're doing your drawing. Please pay very good attention. Very, very important. Now, it's not just enough. Why is this one of the basic operations in AutoCAD? It's possible for you to finish your drawing. At the end of the day, you won't see what you've drawn. Why? Because the right settings were not done. Very, very important. The right settings were not done. So how do you do that? First and foremost, you come to this place, the logo, hey, that should be your icon one, according to the diagram we have on page 12 of our textbook, figure 1.8 II. Okay, the icon one there is A. You click on the icon one and that lands you to this place. You come to this place very quickly. I want to set my units, okay? And it displays some icons by the right hand side. Then I go to unit, I click on that. Now, very important, I select. Okay, it's already in millimeter. So this is where you select the unit to work with, maybe meters or whatever. This is where you select it from. I repeat again, you want to do some selection. You come, you go to icon one, that is the AutoCAD logo. Go to what? Drawing unit. Go to what? Unit. Okay, click on it, and that lands you in this environment. You do your settings here in millimeter, you select it, whatever unit you want, depending on the case. At the end of the day, do your settings here, precisions. You want to do three decimal places or two, is up to you, or one, whatever. At the end of the setting, you click OK. You're good to go. Then the next thing again I want to talk about again is the next thing I want to talk about now is the limit setting. Very, very important. Limit setting. Now, when I was introducing this course, I told us that AutoCAD environment is as wide as the Earth surface. So before you start any reasonable drawing, you have to delineate the portion where you need to do the stuff. Otherwise, when you finish it, you may not be able to print it out. You may print and print empty space or divide the element and print because the right things were not done. Please, this is very, very, very vital. Listen on how I'm going to explain it now. Now, you come back again. This is where I want to work. First and foremost, you type your limits or zone or area of interest. How do you go about that? Number one, you type limits and say enter. Then you type in the lower left corner. Now, what you do there, as you can see here, 0,0. This is my lower left corner, and this is my right top corner. This thing shows the zone or the box inside where all your drawings will be located. Very, very important. So how do you delineate that? Now, assuming this diagram I want to do now is up to, okay, as you can see now, just you can see is 3,214 millimeters on horizontal. Then on the vertical, you have 1,744 millimeters. Very good. Now, what do I do? If I use limit of 0 against 120, I'm going to get something unreasonable. It won't work because this diagram cannot enter inside it. Now explain. This vertical is bigger than the vertical recommendation. So what do? I come to here and I type. I can decide to, because there's no negative value, I can still start from 0. I first of all say limit. That's the first thing you do. You type in limit, you say enter. Then you type in 0, 0. You say enter. That is the lower left corner. Then I can choose. Uh, Now, mind you, whenever you write two values, one stands for x axis, the first one, the second one stands for y axis. Now, for x, I can say 4,000, comma, I can say 2500, enter. Now, this one will comfortably take care of the horizontal and the vertical because 3214 is within or it's less than 4,000 mm, and 1,744 is less than 2,500. That's just the idea, and you're good to go. That's how to choose your limits. Thank you very much. We'll continue in the next lesson.